Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, Chi Babble. Hey, Bludge108. How you guys doing? My gosh, there's always going to be some sort of technology issue. So, for those who followed my last stream, I mentioned that my graphics card had just like randomly died, and I was having a bunch of issues there. So I replaced the graphics card today, and it's running smooth as butter. Now my network is giving issues. Now it's my ISP. So there's always something. So I hope the stream is smooth on your guys' side. Sounds so good. Thank you, Anime Alien. Thank you so much. So this was like a track that I kind of put together for a bunch of demos, like for videos. I haven't quite like put it together sensibly and arranged it and all that. Hey, Nihilist, Derish, Drew, and Psydo. How are you guys doing? So I haven't really like arranged it thoughtfully or anything. It's kind of just a bunch of sounds in there. So I kind of want to create a little bit of a hook, maybe arrange it a little bit more. Like I said, well, actually I didn't mention, I've been backwards and forwards with the computer shop all day. So I haven't really prepared anything, like what we're going to go into today. I figured I'm just going to work on this track. If any questions come up, and I will answer them, try explain to the best of my abilities what I'll be doing today. But yeah, I think also like sometimes, spending time away from the studio, not kind of just banging your head against the wall all day is a good thing, because then when you kind of get back into the studio, you kind of feel all inspired and you have new ideas and all sorts of things. So anyway, I'm going to stop blabbering and just start working here. So there's a main lead that kind of comes in here like an acid lead. I think this melody is pretty cool, but we could maybe change it up, create more of like a interesting progression or something. But I kind of like the rhythm that it's doing. So we can maybe try recreate something with Vital here. Also, just like a random thing for those people out there who do stream or make videos and stuff, and you may be in a similar position. I had an AMD card and it was running fine. Everything was fine. I managed to do my streams and everything. But now I actually got an NVIDIA, and I've noticed apparently that the NVIDIA cards have something called NVNC codec or something, which allows specifically for streaming video, like all the encoding and stuff is done on the hardware. So my CPU usage is like half of what it usually is while I'm streaming. And I actually got the card that I got was cheaper than the replacement for the one that I had before. A little bit better specs. Like, I don't understand, like graphics cards are all over the place now with crypto and everything, but yeah, it's just crazy that specifically for like streaming video, it's okay. Now my ISP is giving me a bit of issues, but I can see my CPU usage is about like half of what it usually is. So usually as soon as I hit the stream button, it like jumps up by about 10% or so, depending on how full it is. But now it just stays the same, which is pretty cool. So all the kind of decoding or encoding for streaming of the video is actually done on the hardware rather than on the in OBS in the software. So it alleviates the CPU for music stuff, which I think is brilliant. Sidewalks. Have you ever considered remix of other tracks? Yeah. I guess it's difficult when you're releasing music because you get copyright claimed by the person, or unless it's like an official thing. But also I find, like, I don't know, sometimes like I start working on it and then I always feel like I want to go more in the direction of like where I want to go, if you know what I mean. So I kind of feel like my music always shines when I'm doing my own thing, because it's hard, because I do like things a bit differently, I guess. So it's hard to kind of, or at least I think, so it's hard to kind of like put the two together and still sounding good, you know? Isn't this going to make it break sooner? I doubt it, because I mean, like, I don't know, from what I've read, like, the NVIDIA is supposed to be more reliable or whatever. I don't know. Hey Django, just had my first production session with Equator 2. It was less CPU intensive than I was expecting. I know, right? It's like, I don't understand. Like, what's going on? There's 6 oscillators. Oh my gosh, there goes my network. Swear to God, it's going to make me rage, guys. Please, not today. I know, right? Yeah, there's like 6 oscillators, granular, all sorts of stuff going on there. So many effects, but it's so good with the CPU. Like, I don't understand. How did they do that? Hey Drew, hey Bishop Martin, explosive drums. Do you make synthwave? Sometimes. I enjoy it. I love this dude's death stare. Not joking, he's dedicated to his work. Bro, you've got to death stare the sound until it's perfect. It's not just gonna get perfect without the death stare. Hey Adrenochrome, how you doing? Do you guys know that a flanger is basically a delay? Well, actually, everything is a delay. I actually don't want to say that aloud because last time I said that it sparked an argument on the internet. Can you believe it? But like technically, everything is actually a delay. Even filters. Like before, I used to say everything is either a filter or a delay until I realized that the way that modern technology, or in fact, the way that filters work is by phase canceling frequencies. And phase is delay. So filters are based on stacks of delays. Mind blown. So everything is just delays. But anyway, flanges are particularly cool because you can create these kind of like resonant sounds. And here, if you like put it before the filter that's happening with this distortion unit, you kind of get that like almost like a glitchy sound, but that still gets filtered with the lead. Diva. I don't have Diva, but it's good. It's good. I usually try to peak my tracks -6, and then there is actually like a little mastering thing happening on the output, just so that you guys hear it louder, or so that it's like in line with my vocals and stuff, as much as I can get it like on the spot. Hey, Pilotti Music, thank you so much, man. Good week to you too. Am I a delay? Well, theoretically, I always get clips with those. Can you help say how to avoid this? Turn your volume down. Just mix to a lower volume, and then you won't clip. And turn your sound card, like turn the volume up on your sound card. And in previous versions of Cubase, if something went onto the alternative timeline, it was very difficult to get it back into the project, but I did that by mistake. I'm not sure quite how that happened, but yeah. Yeah, I peak at -6 dBs. Check here. Well, it is probably going to be more because I haven't actually mixed this track, but check here. Okay, here is -3 because I'm going a bit wild with that lead. What's your take on melodies and riffs and intellectual property? I often find myself writing music and thinking that's got to have been done before. Tracks sound so dope, by the way. Do you want the long answer or the short answer? Because the long answer could take a while. Doctor Who Tsahi. Good answer, my friend. I mean, good ears, my friend. It is in G. G Phrygian, I think. The short answer is no. Everything has technically been done before, and anybody who tries to argue, unless you're actually taking it and there's evidence of that, then I think it's a difficult one, because if you exactly copy a scale, a melody, and that's like the main focus of the track, then it can be argued in court that you have taken intellectual property. But I think we're at a point where everything has actually been done before. The fact that there's 12 notes, 8 notes to choose from in a scale, 8 chords within a scale to choose from, or less, depending on the scales or whatever. So the fact that there's such fine parameters in which music is allowed to exist in already means that it's all been done before. So I don't think people should worry too much about intellectual property and stepping on toes in that regard. But there's more. I do have a more philosophical take on it if you guys do want to hear it, but I don't want to bore you. So let me know. Maybe I'll do a bit of a rant later on. Yes, man. Color copy. always, forever and always. The transition machine. Hey, good afternoon, Greedo Kenobi. You want to hear my philosophical take on it? Cool. I'm just gonna grab a glass of water, and then we can get into it. What is the whalebone scale? I need to try that. There was a question earlier about the glide in Vital. So make sure that your voices is on 1 so that it triggers monophonic, so that it glides from one voice to the other, so that it does it can only allow one voice at a time, and that's what makes it glide. And then legato will basically not re-trigger your envelopes every time a new note is triggered while gliding. So that's another thing to make the glide more audible, is legato. Yes, I like that. Okay, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to get that glass of water that I spoke about like 10 minutes ago. After the 16th. No, dude, no. It's got to go full power from start, full power, end track. Okay. Just because some of you guys asked for my like philosophical take on the subject, I'm gonna keep it short, and I'm gonna post a link to a documentary. I have actually mentioned this documentary before. Hey, Tune Monk, how you doing? So there's a documentary that really goes in depth on the subject. So like if you either agree or disagree with what I'm saying, you should check out the documentary both ways. But I don't really want to get too in depth with it, so I'll kind of keep it short. But I kind of believe that. So for those who missed earlier, the question was, let me actually find it here real quick. Oh, no, I can't find it. So it was basically about intellectual property and whether people should bother, whether people should bother with worrying about whether a melody or something has been taken before. So the way that I see it is that like culture and knowledge is all based on intellectual property that existed before. So we as a society evolve each time somebody builds on an idea that previously existed. To me, that's the idea of evolution as a culture or as a society. And I don't think that it expands only to inventions. I think culture is so kind of like based on ideas. If you look at books and the way that like fantasy is told, it's all based on worlds that kind of already exist, but they're changed a little bit, and all sorts of things like this. And we as a society get better and better as we build on the good ideas of the past. And I think people who try to control intellectual property, one, it's generally not the artist themselves, because I generally feel that if an artist had enough faith in themselves as an artist, they wouldn't control their past ideas because they're too busy worrying about the next idea. Or maybe that's just me. This also might seem like a hot take because I'm a creative person and I do make music, and I'm kind of like, I'm not advocating piracy to a certain extent, but I just feel like the way that the system is controlled to not allow people to build on ideas of the past, and those ideas are rather controlled by corporations, I think that that whole thing is just completely backwards. That is exactly the one. Sean Hancock. That is exactly the one. You, my dude, you are in tune. So yeah, it's difficult as an artist because obviously, like, I make a song and I want to, get like revenue from that. But at the same time, I feel like there's so many people that don't have access. Like for me, I'm a South African. I'm sure there's many South Africans in the chat. Like, we can't just go into a music store. Okay, it's different now with the internet. But when we were growing up, you couldn't just go into a music store and buy a Spangle CD. You know what I mean? You couldn't just go and buy music that you liked. It was all just top 40s, So for me to have access to the music that I liked, it was very difficult. And I think that controlling these ideas and, the more that we as artists spread our ideas regardless of who's controlling it and who's allowed to listen to it or not, I think the fact that our ideas are out there is the most important part. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to post a link to the documentary that really goes in depth. And it's not just about creativity. It's like inventions, it's medicine, it's science, it's every single thing is about building on ideas that were previously discovered. Medicine, for example. Like, every single scientific discovery has always been based on something that was either discovered before. Okay, maybe not the first ones, but it's always like building on ideas and building on ideas. And it's generally these kind of corporations that kind of like take hold of those ideas and try to control them because they don't have the capacity to come up with the next big idea, I think. And that in itself causes that whole idea, like trying to control ideas, is what's causing the downfall of creativity. Because now artists are thinking, am I allowed to make music? Am I allowed to use an idea? You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, of course, just do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Just be creative. And that's the whole hot take. I'm going to end it there, and I'm going to post a link to the documentary you guys should check out. the crazy thing is, like, legally there's more to it, Cider. So legally you don't actually have the rights to perform somebody else's music if you just buy it on Bandcamp. Legally, you actually have to get what's called mechanical rights, I believe, and that's a whole other ball game. That's why I just think the whole system is fucked. Do you know what I mean? Like, it should be like, if you want to play a dude's track, just play the fucking track. The dude will enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? If you guys want to play my music in a DJ set, just do it, please. Like, I'll enjoy it. Like, let me know. Like, that's why I make music, is so people can enjoy it. The fact that some company wants to control the access to music. I mean, like, what the fuck? It's backwards. It's backwards, dudes. And it's not just music. It's not just music. It's medicine, it's science, it's everything. It's ideas are trying to be controlled. You know what I mean? And it's never the people that come up with these ideas who are trying to control them. Did you know that Walt Disney hires more lawyers than they do animators and artists? Like, that's a mindfuck. Like, they hire more people to, like, control ideas than they do to come up with ideas. And if you look at absolutely everything that Walt Disney has ever done, like, ever, it's all based on stuff that already exists. Do you know what I mean? Like, always, all of it. And you can check, like, in that documentary, like, they go through it and they compare. Yeah, Walt Disney wasn't bad. He was the best remix artist of the past century, let's put it that way. He was a very good remix artist. Hey, Jason Gilman Jr., how you doing? You just missed the hot take, if you just joined now. Hey, my Logify, how you doing? Are you feeling better? Hey, straight exposing them family jewels. What? That's a name, dude. Yo, thank you for the support and very cool name. Straight exposing them family jewels. Infiltrator, you know it's coming, dude. You know it's coming. In the USA, our culture is too corrupt that we have taken the position of corporations. We live to sue somebody over property rights. Well, that's the thing. It's like the entire system. It's not just the USA. The entire system. We're at a point where you kind of have to you have to play ball. Do you know what I mean? Because the system is set up that if you're not controlling your creativity in that sense, then somebody else is going to try to. And YouTube creators are seeing this. Like if we put up something, then some other label is going to say, "Hey, wait, that's my song," but it's not. It's mine. Do you know what I mean? So the whole system is fucking broken. Do you know what I mean? You guys should just watch. I don't think I could explain it as good as like the people in that documentary, for example. Hey, Alchemy, how you doing? Tantra. I haven't actually used it in ages. I should get Tantra too. I should totally get it. It looks really cool. It looks like they've sorted out a few of the gripes that I had with Tantra 1. I'm feeling like something like atmospheric, almost like a vocal chanty thing, but with like weird harmonies, maybe like glides and gates. So like, but something a bit random. Just waking up. Yo, I totally forgot. Like we made these visuals for this track, dude. Oh my gosh, this graphics card is it's actually sick. It's changing my life. There's like visuals synth loaded here in this project, and it's still at like 10% CPU. Madness. Is it recommendable to inactivate tracks that not in use to render the MIDI to audio? I like to, because it's like concreting your idea in time. So it's like you can't go back and be like, oh, let me tweak this. Oh, let me tweak that. It's like done, move on, finish the track. You know, I think as the more we learn about sound design and the more we learn about synths, the more we're kind of inclined to tinker. And the more we tinker, the less we're finishing. You know what I mean? So just rendering it down and moving on is it's an important thing. I'm just so used to doing it working from back in the day when computers just weren't so good, that it's just become a part of my workflow. But it's a powerful thing that just gets the thing done, you know. Hey, Game Boy, did I say hello yet? Good morning, by the way. And everybody else in the chat, Cushman, everyone, hello, how are you doing? I hope you're having a good week so far. Is it possible in Cubase to put an effect on just part of the stem? Yes. Let me show you guys, because I actually know there's probably a few people watching this that want to know about what offline processing is, because it's one of the big calling cards in Cubase. And I actually surprisingly don't use it too much. Just because I kind of like modulating my effects and that kind of thing. And this doesn't offer too much of that capability. Except if the effect has stuff like LFOs and that built in. But let's say, for example, we've got this lead here. And we want to put a reverb on just this hit. What we can do is, actually, you don't have to cut it. You can use this range select tool and just select that like that. And then right click or control right click, depending on how you've set it up. And then you can apply any plugin from your rack, like directly on. So let's say, for example, find a reverb here. Effects, reverb, Valhalla Supermassive. And it actually pops up a window here. And it's non-destructive. So as you work on it, you can monitor it. And as you tweak these settings, it'll update it live. And then you just press done, and it's automatically applied that. And then we can say, for example, apply the same thing here as well. Plugins, X, reverb, supermassive. Wait, I don't know if it applied. I think we actually have to, for some reason, it's usually auto applies. I've actually got that the thing there, auto apply. I want 3 of them. What's happening here? Let's remove one of these. It's supposed to auto apply, but let's just hit process here, because it didn't seem to actually apply. Oh, it is applying. I'm just being silly. It's the best thing ever to like randomly pitch things and then send it into the resonator, which has like a set pitch. So the pitch of the input kind of like determines almost the timbre of the sound, and the it kind of keeps a stable kind of pitch. So it's a nice way of getting these kind of crazy random sounds, but still having it like in key to the track. Do you know what I mean? There isn't really a filter in that patch. Well, there is, but this is basically just acting as an EQ to cut the lows of the tails of the delays and reverbs. But all the timbre is being controlled by the resonator and that little trick I explained. You're talking too much and giving away the secret. Fine, keep your secrets. How you compare Slice EQ to the Eventide split. The Eventide split can't be loaded into Faceplant or any of the Snap Heap or any of the Kiloheart stuff. So as much as I actually do, like the last stream I think I did, I said like I don't see the idea why I need a new EQ, but then I watched White Sea Studios video on it and he actually explained it. I didn't understand it at first, but it's actually a pretty cool concept. But I think we can remake something like that inside Snap Heap by just paralleling something, having a transient shaper and doing a cancellation thing with transient shaper on the one side and no transient shaper on the other side, and isolating the transients and the sustain that way, or no attack on the one side and no sustain on the other side, and being able to isolate the sounds that way and then EQing them. So I think we could actually probably build something like that. We should maybe try. Should we try? Should we try it? I like the contrast of this one sound. It's kind of like goes from old school VHS-y kind of to like modern cutting. Tick, tick, tick. It's all about contrast, guys. Like if you want something to sound like modern and cutting edge, and that, like, just put it next to a sound that's like a 303. I think that's like, oh gosh, my ISP again. Oh my god, 0 kilobits per second. Can you fucking believe it? I'm gonna rage, bro. I'm going to rage. I'm just kidding. I'm chilled today. I'm chilled. I think that's why the 303 is such a popular thing. This is another secret, guys. This contrast thing. That's why the 303 is so popular in Psytrance, because it's that old school sound. It's able to make that contrast and make anything kind of sound a little bit more modern next to it. Do you know what I mean? Alchemy, I see you asked how did you I hope you're still here. I see. Then you just said you're going. How did you start a poll? If you're streaming and you're on your stream panel, like, you do it from Stream Elements, don't you? So you don't actually have your YouTube panel open, because you have to do it from the chat in YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so let's try this concept. I actually want to remove these delays and stuff. Okay, so bear in mind, I'm not attempting to recreate split EQ by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just trying to recreate that similar style of EQ. I think, when I'm looking for something super clinical, then splitting transients and that kind of thing, I don't know. For me, that's more of a creative thing. So I think that this EQ, in terms of that, would it would fit more into the creative sound design category because of the fact that you can split the transients and stuff. Less so a kind of mixing category. But bear in mind that I'm not mixing other people's music, So sometimes if you're mixing other people's music, you may want to change the transient of something. Do you know what I mean? So just keep this in context. Do you know what I mean? Don't take this out of context. Like, I'm just experimenting here, because also, like, what I was saying the other time is, like, I'm not sure if I need an EQ that can do this, because I believe with the tools that I already have, we could get very similar results. But let's see. Let's test the theory. So my theory is, if we use a transient shaper on 2 channels in parallel, remove the attack from the one and the sustain from the other, then we've basically it's the same sound coming out the output, surely, but now we have control to EQ each individual channel. Do you know what I mean? After the transient shaper. Usually there is some gain that happens, though, when you parallel. I think it's about 6 dBs of gain, so we can actually just go and put in there -6. But let's test this theory. Okay, so it's -3. I was wrong, not -6, but it's the same sound now coming out. So that means, in theory, that if we mute the one channel, for example, the one where we've turned the sustain down, this is now the attack channel. We can mute this and we just have the sustains of the sound. But now what I want to do is, so that we've got speed control, I'm going to set both speeds down to 0. Hey, Chris Quarter. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you for the support, guys. Let's set this. I think 50 would allow us to modulate it. No, let's go all the way. And let's apply this to both of these, so that we have speed control and the speed will be the same. And what we can do is we can maybe set up a thing that can mix. So we have like one knob, like a balance between transient and sustain. So let's say gain. Let's do it on percentage. That's a bit easier to work out, because then what we do is we set each one to 50. And then the one will say modulate plus 100%, and the other one will be minus 100%. And then this would be the mix. No, we would want to do 50%, not 100%. Is that right? No, the one must be minus 50. And then I think these should be on 0. What? Oh, no, wait. This one maybe on 100%. Yeah. Like that. And then we've got a balance. So if this is on 50, then it's the same sound coming out. And then we can mix between transient and sustain. Let me blow your mind. Lil Davis, purely hypothetical question, mostly because I want to know if that is relatively common or not. Up to what precision do we think we are able to measure sounds with a microphone? If you know the microphone's exact frequency response, you can reverse that, apply that to the input signal, and then technically you're recording an absolutely flat frequency response signal. So the interesting thing about SonarWorks is every mic they test and put like a little number on, and when you run that software, you punch that number in, and then they put that response for that. So there's like various mics that they categorize depending on how different the response of those mics are, and they code them, and that then gets cancelled from when you record the sound to make sure that it's as flat as possible. In my opinion, the precision is not down to recording the source, it's down to recreating it accurately. And what I mean by that is that you can have a good microphone, but the sound is not determined by just the source. It's all the early reflections in the room that make it natural. And the shape of our head, the shape of our ears, all of that stuff comes into play. So if we record it with two very good microphones in a very good setup, and we recreate it with a proper stereo setup and everything inside the DAW, and we apply proper filters and stuff to recreate that type of atmosphere or whatever it might be, then yes. But I think it's all down to the recreation of that natural environment as opposed to how accurate the actual mic is. But also bear in mind that the most expensive microphones in the world are not because they're accurate. For example, like the Neumanns, they're not the most accurate mics in the world. They sound good. That's why they're expensive. It's because they have certain frequencies are boosted, and that makes, for example, female vocals sound better on a certain microphone because the mids are more present, and then, for example, a male might sound slightly distorted on that because there's more low mids or whatever. So the most expensive mics aren't because they're more accurate. That's a very common misconception in like music gear. Okay, so we've got the sustain and the transient like isolated. So what we can do then is then EQ each of them individually. So let's say, for example, remove some of the mids from the sustain. And also here, the added bonus is we've got the extra things that Snapheap offers. So we're not just limited to EQs. We could apply, for example, creative things like a resonator on just the transient. I'm not going to do that because there was already resonators in the patch and whatever. But you can imagine the possibilities. I'm thinking what we could do is create some sort of adaptive EQ using the envelope followers here. So it's kind of like reduces this mid-range depending on how much it needs to. So it's not always reduced, so we get a slightly cleaner sound, I guess. Sounds like a boss fight. Oh, then we're on the right track, bro. Yeah, can you guys take it into the DMs? Because like I'm missing questions if they come up. You guys seem to be getting along like a house on fire. Yo, it does like a guitar distortion kind of tone there, right at the end there. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Yo, my dudes. Hey, Patrick Chusa, how you doing? Oh my gosh, guys, like I'm so stoked because like 2 days in a row now, somebody has said like, oh, that reminds me of the person that inspired the track that I'm doing. So literally like this track, when I started it, was inspired by Aja's new album, Odula. And then the other day I was doing a track which was inspired by Tipper's new album, and somebody was like, yo, this sounds like Tipper. I was like, oh, I'm on the right track then. Thank you. I appreciate that. Liso Tunali. Hey, Sinister Funk, how are you doing? Sounds fit. FET compressing, man. No, I'm joking. There was none of that used. I would rank Dash Glitch Psytrance with robot sounds higher than boss battle music, but I don't know if anything is better than that. Thank you. Is that Alec? I can't read Russian numerals or alphabets. Is that Alec? Cut 520 hertz. On which? This current vital synth here. That's quite a good idea, Patrick. So maybe we don't like detune the notes. Maybe we can kind of use the same lead pattern to slowly fade in something that's at that, like at a 1/8 dotted, and slowly fade it in. So it kind of sounds like it turns into that. I would forget barking at. Could be Pam's new workout delivery. Who knows? Shit, I'm waiting for that still. Hey, Artifacts, how you doing? Here, Rose from the darkness. Yeah, like changed my graphics card, so all my settings and stuff had to be reset. I actually forgot to turn on my blue light back there as well. Changing things in the studio. My buddy just got a Pam's new workout. Yeah. That's. I think that's the key. That's gonna, because it's got, like, it can be the entire clock for the whole rack, as well as the fact that it's got sample and holds. So that it's going to free up 4 hemispheres. So, yeah, I can't wait. And a distinct EX as well. Is that better? Oh, that sounds so good when it's melodic. Okay. We're gonna slowly build it into like a break, and this lead is gonna turn melodic. So it's gonna go from like a FM thing. We're gonna use this rhythm that's been created by the delay and slowly fade it in with just like a rhythmic thing, and then like bar by bar we add in a couple of like higher notes until it's like a riff, and then we can break it into like the final break. And then we use that melody to kind of like build up in the break. I think that could be the game plan. here's where we go wild with the automation, I think, once we've like revealed the full melody. Made like 50 granular vocal samples yesterday from the same patch and samples I was using. What granular thing were you using? Portal. Have you checked Artifacts? Have you checked Playbeat 3? It's so good for creating breaks. You just load up a bunch of samples and it randomizes breaks. I'm sure you know the Audio Modern stuff now. It's like a random sample player. Oh, it's so good for breaks, dude. For just those like idea jams where you just want like a long audio like a long audio loop of just random drum hits, and then you distort that and chop the best parts, you know, that whole vibe. So it's just great for creating those. Well, it's great for other things as well, but it's perfect for those. Quanta, that's the thing. I've been eyeing that. It looks really good. It looks really good. I think I actually saw you using it. I didn't watch the stream, but I watched the video afterwards. I think it was like late night or something, and I was out. But on Saturday, yeah, it was. Yeah. I watched it the Sunday morning, and I saw the Quanta. Falcon is on sale this month. Hello, fellow Scorpio. It has one of my favorite granular engines. Mine too, man. Mine too. I love Falcon. And Equator 2 lately. I've been loving the granular engine in Equator 2. It's a bit of a underrated synthesizer, I think. Speaking of granular, I think this track has a blatant lack of Portal. What do you guys think? I reckon we do like one of those unexpected breaks here. So we do like a thing where it like delays the kick and bass and percussions. So it like builds and then we can like do a fake delay. What? Oh, microphone. No, I actually don't like it with the changing tempos. I think it's cool just like that, static. Adds color copy, heavy breathing. Dub delay, heavy breathing. every forest track, just or dark prog, just these sounds randomized, done. Can you guys see the wagging tail? Can you guys see that wagging tail there? Shadow. Okay, we'll go just now. Okay, we'll go just now. She's telling me it's time. It's time for walkies. Can you hear that? Are you going to record us some lead vocals with your moaning, Shadow? No, doggy must wait another. It's another. Actually, she's early. Like I usually go at 6, but I go for morning one as well, and I went a bit earlier than usual this morning, so she's probably counting like the hours in between. I don't think she has a watch, and it's like, okay, it's 6 p.m. Although apparently dogs are very good with schedule. I don't know, maybe they read the sun or something. Somebody said a lead vocal. Do they mean what I think they mean? Are we gonna do a vocal, we can do some old school to kind of like give it some contrast. Should we make a new melody? Like with that was actually a pretty cool thing. That like very simple. I think that can work. Oh, what happened? It was so perfect, and now it's like gone out of time. I don't know what I did. It was so perfect. And then I pressed something, and then I broke everything. It was so perfect. Maybe we can sequence this with MIDI rather. We can do it like this, tuned, MIDI, and then make a MIDI channel and send this to Rift. It's this flippin' delay parameter. It's doing my head in. Oh my gosh. Let's just render this. Guys, NVIDIA for life, or NVIDIA, however you say it, NVIDIA for life, guys. My CPU is still at 10%. It's like, and I've added how much Rift and all that stuff. Just alleviating my computer and having the streaming and stuff being done on that hardware of the graphics card. It's just, oh my gosh. And I even got like the cheapest of cheap, like cheapest graphics card there. And it's better than the AMD that I had before, like by a long shot. It even just looks better. It only quite fits in that part, I think. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to call it a day. I'm getting tired and I still got to go do the dog walk. So yeah, I will let this play through. Once for you guys, I think the llama needs to come down a little bit. Yeah. What have I done there? No. Stop messing around here. And percussion, sound effect. yeah, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. That was a nice, productive session. Hope you guys learned some stuff. I'll let this loop from beginning to end for everybody who wants to have a listen to what we've done. Hey, Ollie Music, how are you doing? I'm actually just about to call it a day. But yeah, I will see you guys soon. Cheers.